Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good in between, depending on where you are on this fast forward planet, which sadly is still wrapped in a pandemic, hitting spikes here in the United States and some other countries that would have been avoidable with more care and attention to some of the basic facts of science. I'm Andy Revkin. I run this webcast as part of my work at the Earth Institute, building an initiative on communication and sustainability. And on Sundays, every Sunday, we make this not so much about facts and science and policy as about sharing through song and story and just convening. And today I've got a wonderful array of guests coming on, including actors, novelists, and of course, singers. And here to start the day, good morning to all of you. I've got Karen Brooks, Lori Siegel, and Melissa Ortquist, who are together the Trouble Sisters. And it's that good kind of trouble that we really need these days. And there's a birthday on the floor. So if you could all unmute, it's great to see you all. You're also part of our what had been a regular adventure called Breakneck Ridge Review.
And
how are you doing?
We'll be again.
Yeah. So Lori Siegel, I understand that is it today that is your birthday?
Today is actually my actual birthday. Yes, it is.
Happy birthday to you. And Karen Brooks in Heath, Massachusetts, up where the sheep are starting to hunker down more and grow their fur, wool. and Melissa in upstate New York here as well. How are you all doing?
Good. I think the isolation is really hitting harder every week that goes by. This is going to be a tougher winter, I think. You know, it was one thing to come into it in March and have the summer. That was okay, but wow. I have days here where I don't see one other person all day, and it's getting to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. We just retrieved my mother-in-law, an 88-year-old, from a rural Maine village, a lobster village, where the virus is actually percolating in a dangerous way. And we took her from her bubble to our bubble, which even though we're here in the Hudson Valley in New York State, where there's an upswing in the virus, we feel she'll be safer here and not isolated. That isolation is a big deal, especially in rural America. So it's a big part of the problem going forward.
And Melissa, the court system has changed too, right? They're changing back.
Yes, well, we're doing a lot of court appearances virtually, which is interesting. People can appear virtually, and there's benefits to having people appear virtually.
Sure.
They don't have to come into court and wait. Some of them are appearing from work, and some people are actually less intimidated because they're behind the screen, so they're talking more to the judge, and we're getting to know people a little better, which is there's some benefits to appearing virtually for court.
I think there are going to be a lot of innovations because of this that are going to stick around. I'm also, I'm a therapist, so I've been, I work with kids, and I've been seeing clients virtually, and I think there's a lot of things that are beneficial to that too. So
this is true.
Yeah.
So how's about a song? Maybe Karen, when you're thinking about Lori and her birthday, is there a song that comes to mind for you, or just what's on your musical mind this morning?
I have a song that I wrote that I think I sort of finished it. Maybe they can try to sing a little on the chorus, and we'll just see what happens with the harmonies. I have no idea. There's going to be latency, and maybe my vocal and my video won't even be in the same place. But this is more reflective of. I hear that freight train from my house. It's what I hear, and I know it's going by down in Charlemont. Freight train, where you going? Freight train, where you going? Away from here, away from here. That's the chorus, away from here. Away from here. away from here. You see the farmers in their orchards. You see the cows out in the rain. You see the trucks go by and the people waving high. Freight train, come by here. Freight train, freight train, away from here, away from here, away from here, away from here. You see the grandmas hanging laundry. You see the kids out in the yard. You see the women going by with their banners raised up high. Freight train, come by here. Freight train, where you going? Freight train, away from here, away from here, away from here, away from here. You see the sun over the ocean. You see the moon over the plain. You see the jets go by, making colors in the sky. Freight train, come by here. Freight train, where you going? Freight train, where you going? Away from here, 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 away from here.
Yeah, beautiful song.
Thanks. So that's where I'm at.
I'm
right
glad
now,
you're able to
thinking-
fit in.
I hear the freight train whistles
Yeah.
way far away, and it's like, am I ever going to leave here?
Yeah, they come through here too, down the
Oh, I
down
know
the
you
Hudson.
can really. They're close by. where
Yeah.
You guys are, but this is like this remote.
Yeah.
It's about to go through the Hoosick Tunnel.
Yeah. I had to silence the effort at harmonies. It really wasn't working. We'll
That's
get there.
okay.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
I thought
Uh,
maybe if I wasn't singing words and just singing notes, it might work, but no.
Yeah.
From
So,
here
Lori,
for a while, it sounded nice.
So, Lori, on your birthday, and given all that's going on, what kind of song would you love to offer the gang?
Well, I'm gonna offer a song of an optimistic song, actually.
And by the way, I see Ray Pierre Humbert coming in now, live from Oxford, Oxfordshire. It's the town of Oxford, or is it Oxfordshire? Where are you, Ray? Oh, you're muted, I think.
Right. Yeah. It's the town of Oxford, and Oxfordshire is the county, which goes all the way into parts of the Cotswolds. Yeah.
Got it. Well, good morning to you. Good afternoon to you.
Nice afternoon. Yes, it's 3:40 here. So
Yeah.
nice time in the afternoon. Just got back from my bike ride up the canal. Yeah.
Wonderful. All right, so Lori, Ray, I'm getting a bit of an echo from you too. So if you have a headset, that would be great. Awesome. Lori, what song did you have in mind?
I had a song that was positive and hopeful, and you probably know it. I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and for you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, dark, bright, sacred days and dark, sacred nights. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than we'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
There was a Columbia University senior, Nathan Farrell, who sang that last week here on the show on with his ukulele, and it was similarly wonderful. So it's such a great song.
So nice to hear that, Lori. So
I'm
nice.
missing your harmonies, though.
And Bill Hudson wishes you a happy birthday. Look at that.
Thank you, Bill.
Oh.
Yeah, we all miss those harmonies.
Yeah.
Melissa Ordquist, again from the Trouble Sisters, this wonderful trio here, and just in different places. Is there something you've been thinking about musically that you could offer this morning?
Yes, I sang a song to my son to wake him up in the mornings, and then I sang it on the Clearwater before I had him to wake up the whole crew on the boat. We had a tradition on the Clearwater. I was second mate for a few years, but we had a tradition on the boat to wake up the whole crew with a song, and we all took turns with a song. So this is one that I woke the crew up. It's a short little song, but my son's name is Micaiah, so I changed it to just Kaya. So here it goes. Wake up, Kaya. Day is breaking. Peas in the pots and the hoe cakes baking. Early in the morning, break a day. Better come quick. Gonna throw it all away. Wake up. And that's it.
And did it work?
Yeah, it worked, and I would embarrass him with that song in front of his basketball teammates. So he's continuously embarrassed by his mother singing, but I still, it woke him up.
That's great. Yeah, I think about all the songs we used to sing on the Clearwater when that boat was able to sail and carry people around. We missed that this spring, and now it's bedding down for the winter. Hopefully we'll be back on that boat soon, singing songs to wake people up, and in many ways. Ray, over in Oxford, do you have one of your either a ukulele or an accordion handy, and or what are you thinking this morning? How you doing?
Oh yeah, I'm thinking Swedish. I was thinking Swedish this morning.
Swedish.
Also, thinking.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, jag tycker in på svenska. Yeah, Yes, I'm thinking Swedish this morning. Also, I'm coming to you in stereo. I don't know if you can tell. I plugged in I got a Yeti mic as a placeholder. When it becomes possible to play with my fiddler friends again, then I'll need a couple more micings.
This is great.
But this seems to do pretty well. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So yeah,
oh, yeah.
Would you like a tune now or? Oh, okay. Oh yeah. yeah. Jag visst. Okay. Swedes have a lot of different ways of saying yes. Very few ways of saying no. Jag visst, jaså, yeah, and so forth. But, okay. So yeah. So these are. Let me grab the machine. Yeah, so these are two polskas. Now, a polska, it has nothing to do with a polka. It's a slowish couples dance, and there are about as many different ways of doing the polska as there are villages in Sweden. But the simplest way looks like a lot of people milling around with their partners with their hands, up against each other, one to one, and then looking into each other's eyes. It's a very nice, relaxing. But if you take a look at polskas on YouTube, you'll see dozens of different ways of doing them at different paces and so forth. It's a great dance. Great dance. So the first one, these are two shortish polskas. One is the first one is Farmor's Brud Polska, means grandma's wedding polska, and actually it means paternal grandma's wedding polska. In Swedish, there's a different word for each of your four grandparents. Farmor, more, far. More far, so you can actually and you can extend that like far son and so forth, and so it's very handy. And then the second one is Polska after Anders Liljefors. Okay, so I think I'll just take off these. So.
Bravo. That was fun. So how did you spent time I know you also did some Finnish tunes here recently. Have you lived in Scandinavia off and on?
Oh,
or
yes,
is this
yes,
just been
yeah.
absorbed?
I mean, I've never lived for a long time in Finland, but Stockholm is like a second home. I had two long sabbaticals there, 2 full year sabbaticals, and have a lot of ties to the Bolin Center for Climate Research. And almost every summer for 20 years or so, my family and I would go hiking up in Lapland. That would be our standard summer. Though in Finland, they really do great climate research in Finland as well. So I spend time in Helsinki, but Finland, we also spend time hanging out up north up north in Finnish Lapland. In fact, our favorite place to ski is a place called Äkeslompolo. I mentioned that last time, where there's a great dance hall, the Rimuliteri. Yeah. So we had to cancel our trip up there this year because of COVID. I didn't want to be the first person to bring COVID to Äkeslompolo, but we're looking forward to going back. So.
Yeah, that would suck.
Oh, that really would. Yes. Yeah.
I loved. I can't remember which week it was when you came on and you did that amazing tune from a movie called 100 Accordions and a Girl or something like that.
Yes, it was 100 Accordions. Yeah, Sekiorvan Polka. Yes.
I looked it up online, and the film is not. I couldn't find the actual film online, but I found some material about it. It's pretty remarkable.
Yeah. At one point, there were a few snippets from the film on YouTube, but sometime I can play a few clips from it for you. So
that'd be fun. So I would love it if maybe Karen and Lori, if you had one more tune or two sort of short tunes to do before we get into the next half hour. And you can hang, of course, through the morning, depending on, everyone can hang out here as long as we go. So Karen, was there something else you wanted? Well,
I was thinking maybe Lori go, and then if we run out of time, because she hardly ever gets on here.
That's true.
And it's her birthday.
And it is her birthday.
Oh, well, I don't know. I've got to think of one to do. You have a request, Karen?
That one you wrote that you sang with us, taught us this summer?
Oh, Song of Hope? Absolutely. Another hopeful song, but this one's defiantly hopeful. I sing a song of hope, defiantly declared. Release it if you dare, in the midst of dark despair. Held by a spark of rage, the rattling of a cage is the rhythm that compels you and tells you to keep on marching on. Keep the fire burning, keep your head held high as you look into the eyes of those who'd bring you down. They cannot bring us down. You sing a song of hope, held like a babe in arms. Try to keep it warm, protect it from the storm. Nursing the gash of a dream that has been dashed, and still you sing, and still we sing. Keep the fire burning, keep your head held high as you look into the eyes of those who'd bring you down. They cannot bring us down. We sing a song of hope, lightning in the skies, from the fire in our eyes, burning through the storm. fueled by a spark of love. We raise our eyes above, see the elders and the young, all our colors in the sun, rising up as one. Yes, rising up as one. Keep the fire burning, keep your head held high, as you look into the eyes of those who'd bring you down. They cannot bring us down. We will rise, 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 we will rise. Together we will rise, we will rise. Together we will rise.
That was beautiful, Lori.
Absolutely
you.
beautiful.
Thanks.
Great.
You brought to mind something that lyric, as you look into the eyes of those who bring you down, brought to mind this incredible moment on social media this past week. And let me just see if I can show this to you. There's a 17-year-old girl. Her name is Ashira Campbell in Denver, who went to she's a Black Lives Matter activist and at 17, and she went to this rally of Proud Boys, and she entered into a conversation with this guy who is bound to bring her down, but she was asking him the most interesting questions. He's 43, she was 17, and she was saying he was sort of just self-deprecating. He was saying he's not smart. He just does what comes to mind. And she's saying, who tells you you're not smart? This is a 17-year-old girl. I'm going to have her on the show in about a week from Monday. I got in touch with her about that capacity she had at 17, not to just sort of yell back at the guy and to find a path to have a conversation with him, which is, I think, part of what we have to, part of the courage that's required in this day is to get beyond our own reflexes and to see if there's some path. And, you know, she and he are not going to ever vote the same. They're not going to ever think the same. But just the fact that she had that instinct and or passion at that age to talk with the guy was pretty amazing. And they had an interesting conversation. So that's what came to mind for me, among many other thoughts. It's a beautiful song, Lori.
Thank you.
Hey, and Andy, when is your next show on Difficult Conversations?
That's the one. It'll be a week from this Monday. Although it'll have to be after school for her, so it's going to be at 5:30 p.m. in the evening,
Okay.
Eastern time. She's in Colorado. I'll be posting some information about it soon.
Good.
Look forward to that one.
The one I did with Reggie Harris was unbelievable. Our good friend and musician who has had some very difficult conversations, including within his family. He is Black, storyteller, a songwriter, descendant of a slave owner, and has found a way to convene with his white side of his family. And it was not easy, but they're doing it. I'm going to bring in our next round of guests, and again, everyone is totally welcome to stay on. And I see in the green room, nibbling on the red M&M free bowl of M&Ms is Ray Bokhour from here in Cold Spring, just down the hill from me, and even closer, John Plummer, who is like 3 blocks away from me here, on the borderline between the tiny village of Nelsonville and the village of Cold Spring. And we're all sitting in typical New York fashion within the town of Phillipstown, within the county of Putnam, within the state of New York, within the wacky country of America. Great to have you here, guys, and everyone else too. Just to set the context, I want to give people a little sense of who Ray and John are from my experience. So hold on a second. And good morning to you both. And thanks for joining our merry band here. Hold on one second.
Yeah, good morning, and thank you.
So Ray is as an actor with roots, luminous roots going back through productions like Chicago, I think, and all kinds of great acting achievements. He's also a composer, and you'll see a guitarist. And what was so striking is, and John Plummer too is part of this. We live in a part of the Hudson Valley that's so full of creative and connected and concerned people that this is a few weeks after the election in December 2016. They pulled together, Ray and his wife and others pulled together a reading of Rhinocero, the Ionesco play. And as you can see here, that play is about fascist singular thinking and the pressures in communities toward uniformity. And I know people on both ends of the spectrum of belief about politics right now who feel that we're getting way too uniform. The sense of uniformitarianism is really a danger to our society going forward. And so, Ray, there's many reasons you're on the show this morning, but this is what came to mind for me, given where we've been at these last 4 years. And what drew you to pull that together at that time? Is that group, by the way, still in existence? What was the name of the theatrical?
Yeah, they were called. What can I recall right now?
Don't worry about it. It had a name.
It's Excellent Creatures.
Excellent Creatures. Yes, that's right. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it goes way back because John directed a production of The Way of the World, which my wife, Christine Bokhour, was in. And there was a line about excellent creature, what an excellent creature. And so she did that along with a couple of other locals and created a theater company called Excellent Creature. And one of the things they did, and they were really ready to start running with this during the run-up to the 2016 election, was to have readings of great classics that kind of seemed to be reflecting a lot of what we were going through at the time. So they did a lot of plays, but just as that election happened and that November came and brought its tidings, she put this together. She chose the play, and she, along with her partner, Greg Miller at the time, I think, was, and they said, yeah, Rhinoceros, man, let's run with that. And John was in it, and I was in it, and it was great because back in the day when you could assemble humans together in one small room, we did exactly that, and it was really needed. Like, everybody had spent so much time on their cell phones or their computers looking at this meme or that meme and reading this article or that article and feeling more and more divided, but also feeling like, where is this coming from? Like, for me, it was very much like a Trumpist attitude, what seemed to be taking over, and that didn't, to me, seem to be a very wise thing. And it was kind of scary, actually. This play really addresses all of that. And I had seen it in the past. I had seen good productions in the past, but boy, oh boy, did it come to life.
It sure did. I remember reading it in college, and I took some drama courses, and just everything around us, that sort of us and them, and the pressure, and this idea of if you're not one of us, you're the enemy. and also the thing that really struck, of course, that strikes powerfully is how it was all happening in plain sight. People were turning into rhinoceroses in that play. And what we've seen around us, and actually, John, I don't know, or others who know that movie, the guys who did Hot Fuzz, what was the horror film they did before that? Where
Shaun of the Dead.
Shaun of the Dead, right? You're seeing all these little indications all around through the first 20 minutes of that movie of people becoming zombies, and everyone's just like going to the market and and people are becoming zombies, and Rhinoceros is the same thing. People are becoming monstrous and in plain sight. So that's just, it came to mind. But you're also a really fine musician, and I was hoping you might pull out your guitar this morning. I saw you play on Facebook a month or so ago, and I thought, man, Ray, come on the show.
Thank you for inviting me. I was, like any of us, in lockdown and unemployed suddenly, as an actor especially, because there's no way to get people together. So I had been on Broadway in Chicago, like you mentioned, and been doing that for many years, actually. And one day at 4:30, they called and said, "Oh, come in." and I haven't been back since. It's been months and months, so I'm not alone. There's a lot of people who are much worse off than I am. I've got a wife who can work, and but I've been filling my time with more music, so that's something for my soul, you know.
Well, if you could help us with our souls this morning with a little bit of your
good luck
music, that'd be great.
It's probably what you heard. It's Donna Lee, old jazz standard.
Fantastic. Man, so you can't keep that part of you bottled up. That's really beautiful.
Well, I try not to. I miss it because I grew up thinking I was going to be doing that for a living, and then not long after I started dabbling a little bit in theater at college, I met John Plummer, and he was like, "You should write music for these shows that I'm doing," and so I started writing music for theater, and then also I just kind of got the bug and decided to audition and then that's what took off in my life. Once I graduated, I was getting more gigs as an actor than I was as a composer, but it brought me into a whole new field of life, which I love. I love the theater as an instrument, really. So.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to look at it. And John, I want to show folks a little bit of your theatrical background and your writing. Hold on 1 second while I try to do this little thing here. Da, 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 da.
I can't believe you're making John Plummer wait.
Oh dear. Yes. So John, we've lived in the same town now for decades. I moved here in 1991 or so. You grew up pretty much here, right? Are you like?
No. My
When did you guys?
moved here, gosh, 26 years ago, I think it was. But no, I actually grew up in a small town in Illinois and then in Greenwich, Connecticut.
Yeah, right. Oh, that's right, Illinois.
But I've been coming here for like 26 years, and we moved here 15 years ago. 15 years ago.
Yeah, right. So what I'm showing here, awkwardly with like things at the bottom that are just my files, but there you go. This is my productions. My production skills are minimal, but I got to know you through the theatrical stuff you did locally, and then got familiar with your writing for the screen of various sizes. Granite Flats was a series. You can tell us a little bit about that. Now you have an audiobook out with a pretty intriguing character. She is a Buddhist detective, and we'll hear about that in a second. But what I loved, you have this infectious capacity to excite young people about theater, as well as your work in it. Our younger son, Jack, who's now 22 and got a degree in film and TV and is doing a little work remotely in that field. He was pulled into the theater largely because there was a guy who turned things like Star Wars and Seven Samurai into drama. And that was you. And your son, Charlie, also, who's now pretty famous actor, had his debut maybe earlier than those productions, but you know,
no, it was those shows. Yeah, it was Star Wars initially. So just so people who are watching this know that the town that Ray and Andy and I all live in it's really a small town. I mean, the village that I live in has one stoplight, Cold Spring, and the local theater, they were doing kids theater, and I wanted to make a contribution to the kids theater because I wanted to get more. First of all, I wanted to get more boys involved. There were almost no boys doing it. Right. And then also I wanted to do something that was, that kids would be inspired and excited about, and also teach them a different, a different model of theatricality in which it was truly an ensemble was creating the show rather than this sort of star system that people get used to. I mean, I just loathe curtain calls that, bring people out, first the little unimportant characters and, then slightly more important, because it's not what theater is. I mean, the great thing about theater is it's truly a creation of everybody. And so we did this production. So I thought, let's do Star Wars, because if we adapt Star Wars, the original, right, AKA Episode 4, A New Hope. If we adapt that as a theatrical production and do it on stage with everybody on stage, we had 36 kids in that show, and they never left the stage. And this stage is tiny. And, we added levels to it and stuff like that, but it was just amazing but first we just had to create a tremendous sense of unity among them. And so that was successful. And Jack was part of that. And my son, Charlie, that was his first theater thing, and he really signed up, I think, because it was Star Wars and probably because I was doing it. I'd been his soccer coach. And so he was used to me, yelling at him, I guess. No, I'm teasing. Not really. And then that was very successful. And so I thought, let's push it even further and let's do a film that's of course, that was a huge inspiration to George Lucas. And it was probably the most influential film of all time. And also a story about a village, and a story about a village that has to create unity and that has to unite with people that they're not used to uniting with. And that was Seven Samurai. And so, and it was for me, it was an incredibly successful show. I remember saying at the time when the show closed to all the parents, I never want to work with adults again. Because these kids, they were just, their imaginations were unlimited, and they did not put borders on their imaginations or on their capacity. And so, it was just a tremendous experience for me. And I was able to, of course, share a lot about Buddhism. I met Ray 2 weeks, I think, after he started chanting Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, which is the title of the Lotus Sutra, which is the core practice of Nichiren Buddhism. And I didn't start practicing, Ray, despite
7 years or so, right? I must have been so inspiring, because it took 7 years. And in that 7 years, you went Maya, who had started to chant. And
no, it was 10 years. It was actually 10 years later that I started practicing Buddhism. But I will say you were inspiring, but Ray's inspiration was not enough to overwhelm my own fear and doubt, and, which were so much bigger, than they often are.
I adore people who hate religion, usually, and maybe that's too strong a word, but I get it. Like, I was definitely of that mindset, and I didn't want to us them anybody, and I didn't want to say we are the ones who know the way. And so what I loved about Buddhism was introduced to me by my sister was that it was really a practice for opening up myself. We view it as a window onto reality, not reality itself. There's a great line from Emerson, and I learned about Emerson from a Buddhist leader who handed me a book of Emerson. And he's, of course, famously Christian, and he said, I hope I get this right, but it's like they think the stars themselves hang on the arch their master built. So in other words, they're looking at the world. I think that's from Nature. It might be from Self-Reliance, but I think it's from an essay called Nature. And he says, I want to experience life directly. I don't want to read a book and think, oh, that's life, and how can I maybe see things in the world through those lenses? But I wasn't interested in that, and all the people I knew who were practicing Buddhism were, this form of Buddhism, were not doing that for the most part. So, who cares what anybody says? It's what your experience is in life. And so when I chanted, it was a useful tool that helped me kind of open myself up and become more me. So what John was experiencing when he met me was the early days of my practice. I had been practicing, like you said, for 2 weeks, and I was becoming more myself than ever. Started to chant, started to do theater at the same time, and became a more social person because I was very shy and very scared, and had something. I felt like I had something to say, and I could bring my work to the theater, my music work to the theater, and John. Yeah, he was pretty inspiring before he started to chant too. So it's all the same stuff, like whether you chant or not. Kind of, as long as you're bringing out the greatest part of yourself and inspiring others to do the same, then it's not proprietary in that sense, But it was a very useful tool for both John and I. And 10 years later, along with his wife Maya, we all started chanting together.
Yeah. Maya was really the vehicle for me. But Maya, my wife, who was at that time just my fiance, she was actually introduced to this practice by Ray. So it was really through Ray, totally. And, but I will say I was able to share a lot of Buddhism with the kids when we were doing Seven Samurai, because of course it really applied, because Buddha's, the fundamental quality of the Buddha, which is, of course, that's what the Lotus Sutra teaches, that every single person is a Buddha. And Buddha means awakened person. And the fundamental quality of, there they are. The fundamental quality of the awakened person is to unite, is to find a way to unify, which goes right back to that conversation we were hearing as before we joined the
girl and the proud boy, yeah.
Yeah, about how to have dialogue. Yeah, so those kids, these were these amazing young people. That's my son Charlie, who's sticking his tongue out in the back row. He played Kikacho, who's the part Mifune played. And amazingly, and that's Jack, who's got the staff. He was Chichiroji, I think, right? No, Gorobei. He was Gorobei. It was an amazing group of young people. I mean, and again, they never left the stage for 2 hours. And we're completely focused and telling this story. It was really powerful. But the whole key was unity. But again, in Buddhism, and in the Buddhism that Ray and I practice with SGI, that's our organization, the Soka Gakkai International. The key thing is unity through diversity. So we want to celebrate each individual's own unique power as a person, but create unity through that great diversity. And that's what we definitely had in that production of Seven Samurai.
And it's SGI, is that the
SGI? Yeah, SGI Buddhism. So it's Soka Gakkai means this. Soka means value creation. Gakkai means society. It's the society to create value, the international society to create value. And we're in 192 countries and territories around the world. When people hear about it, sometimes they think initially it's a Japanese Buddhism, because the first person to chant Nam-myoho Renge-kyo, Nichiren Daishonin, was a Japanese Buddhist reformer in the 13th century. And the Soka Gakkai was founded in Japan, but it's really not at all. In fact, our teacher, Daisaku Ikeda, says you might call SGI Buddhism simply global humanism. And fundamentally, our goal, of course, is to share Nam-myoho Renge-kyo with people and to encourage them to try it as a practice. But the key thing is to share humanism with people. It's actually to share this fundamental ideas that what we have, just again, as Andy, as you were sharing, that young woman, that 17-year-old woman, Black Lives Matter, activist, and the Proud Boy, the 43-year-old Proud Boy, might not have a lot in common on the surface, but at the fundamental level, they're both human beings, and they both, you know, the key thing, of course, is what can we share, and fundamentally, we all share our humanity. So, anyway, that's our
right. Well, I love that idea of the diversity part. Yeah, the Seven Samurai each had a different skill, each had a different weakness.
Right, and totally different characters. I mean, that's why. I mean, it is really, I think, the most influential film of all time, because it's a team building film. I mean, you could say The Avengers is a total descendant of Seven Samurai.
Sure.
It is, you know. And
sure.
my son James, who's 15, we're doing homeschool, and for film class, we're in the Kurosawa unit right now, and he's been doing all this research, and he was researching on Kurosawa and actually found that someone had posted a clip 11 years ago of that production, of our Seven Samurai production. And it has been watched 11,000 times since then on YouTube. I was blown away, and it was amazing. And Charlie, who's in it, you know, it's the big speech where they find out that Kikucho, you know, this samurai, turns out that he was actually born a farmer, and he's crossed the caste line to be this sort of rogue Ronin samurai. Many of the comments say, "Who was that little girl playing Kikucho? She's wonderful," you know, and it's so hilarious. And Charlie, you know, who, as Andy shared, is a pretty successful actor now. Really loved. People thought he was a girl. Anyway.
The roots of stardom, are deep and interesting. These are wonderful. I noticed Ray posted this very funny little comment in the string. It was a bumper sticker. Ray, could you just describe that?
Oh yeah, my other vehicle is the Mahayana. It was on a little yellow Volkswagen, and so that refers to the two of the vehicles of Buddhism, the Mahayana and the Hinayana. But while I've got the mic, speaking of, I've got to show this little Jizo Bodhisattva that my daughter carved for me when she was about 10, when she got her first knife. It's a little bit unfinished, but I learned about Jizo Bodhisattva on a visit to the Sanzenin temple outside Kyoto, and I've had it every time I go on a trip. I pour a little water over it. It's got some pebbles down there. So, Jizo is my guy. You know, it's the guide for people who are journeying either through physical or spiritual realms, and so that includes exoplanets and outer space.
For those who are not aware, Ray Pierre Humbert is one of the leading scientists studying planetary atmospheres and climates, not just ours, but how those elsewhere. And he was at the University of Chicago for a long time, and now he's at Oxford.
What's the name of the? I should know, but what's the name of the thing that's going out there discovering all the exoplanets?
Actually, well, there's a whole bunch of them. Actually, the one that is flying right now is TESS. TESS. But the one that's the big one that we're all excited about is the James Webb Space Telescope. It's been, you know, dozens of years in the making, and the thing, to keep itself cold, it has this multi-layer sun shield that unfolds like a butterfly in space. It's a thing of beauty, and we're all just knock wood that the thing actually unfolds properly. Yeah, so that's TESS. TESS is flying right now, and it's discovering thousands of new planets.
My brother worked on TESS, and he was one part of the person who led the team at MIT that actually built the lens that's actually appearing in all these things.
Yeah. That's right. The mission is led out of MIT. It's a fantastic mission. It's going to find, you know, all the transiting exoplanets, all the planets that sort of eclipse their star, you know, within, say, you know, the nearby ones. Let's say, you know, 20 to 100 light years away. So it's exciting. But the James Webb Space Telescope will let us say which of these things have atmospheres and which ones are really habitable. So that's exciting.
So
it's exciting.
Karen had mentioned she has to get going soon. I don't know if it relates to tending the sheep or other work on the farm, but Karen, if you had a farewell tune for us this morning before you head off to your day's chores, that would be awesome.
I was going to just sneak out, but I'll do it.
Nah. Nobody sneaks out here.
You know this song. Wish you guys could play on this.
Yeah.
Set the moon I see away in the west, just a headlight gleam. See a no express. I know she's gone. Whatever I say, and it won't be long till I make up my mind and go away. It's that the sun come up on the eastern shore, just a coal fire gleam through the firebox door. I know she's gone. Whatever I say, and it won't be long till I make up my mind and go away. See that man can't hear the whistle, blind old fool, out on a trestle, can't go on, can't go back. Train come along and brushed him off the track. Other storms may blow and the winds may rise, still long to go where the fast mail flies. I know she's gone. Whatever I say, and it won't be long till I make up my mind and go away, till I make up my mind and go away.
Glorious.
Oh. I realize it's a
beautiful.
theme. It must be a theme this morning. It's all about going. You know, you might not know this. I hitchhiked for 7 years. I spent 7 years on the road, and it's so strange now to realize I want to leave, and I really can't. We really can't. We really can't just do what we did, which is a challenge. Anyway, but nice to hear you guys. That was wonderful. That whole discussion. I'm going to head out, but thank you so much. And
great. You just
That was a beautiful song and a beautiful performance. Thank you so much.
I wish we had the whole band, because we've done this with Breakneck Ridge, and boy, is that a treat with the harmonies and all the instruments. Yeah.
And
we will.
I see Jeff Vogel, a new comer to our show, is poised to come on, and Patrick Jones is in the green room after taking a walk down by the Hudson River this morning. Pat, we'll see you in a couple minutes. Lori, that was great. Yeah, what she said there about that wishful sense of coming back to where we were, or at least parts of where we were, brought to mind Dean Friedman's song here recently. He wrote a new song, Just Want to Get Back to a Halfway Normal World. And it starts out talking about a baseball game and going to a movie with friends, and the things that we just have lost. We've gained some things too, but the losses are just extraordinary, and they're still piling up. John, before we move on, I want to get back to briefly, just tell us a little bit about your adventure in Buddhist Detective
Oh, yeah.
novelization. So what is this book about? It's Zip Ono Buddhist Detective, and it's available on Audible. It's an
Yes.
Audible original. So
It
how
is.
did this come about?
I mean, actually, it came about while I was chanting. When we're chanting Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, we're really opening up our mind and heart. The heart, really, I think, to the universe. And a lot of times creative, I mean, I'm sure Ray can speak to this too. A lot of times, creative ideas come to you, at least they do to me. And while I was chanting with this friend, I'd gone to encourage this friend of mine who was really, really struggling. And I'm chanting with him, and suddenly this whole thing comes to me of this character and this young woman named Zip Ono, who is a 24-year-old young woman, SGI Buddhist, who is a private detective who lives here in Cold Spring in the Hudson Valley, and who is hired by the widow of a wealthy, extremely wealthy, conservative media mogul who has died, who has seemingly committed suicide, hung himself from the basketball hoop in his private gym on his estate in Garrison, New York. But the widow is convinced that, in fact, it is a murder, because she said, of course, he never would have killed himself. And this was—
So you just relieved me of, I was thinking, wait, he's not talking about Roger Ailes, is he? But
well, yeah, no, of course. This hasn't, for those of you who don't know, Roger Ailes, former head of Fox News, moved to Garrison and bought a house here. So this character, whose name is Big Bill Argosy, is definitely, I never knew Roger. I never met him, although I know many friends who did and worked for him when he bought our local paper. At that time, we had only one local paper. And I was very good friends with Gordon Stewart, who founded our other local paper as an antidote to Roger's paper. Not that it was a left paper, not at all. It was just a responsible paper that was interested in doing responsible journalism. That's the Highlands Current. That's
right.
what it's called. And anyway, so yeah, I mean, definitely there was Roger's life and death impacted, the book. And the book is about, this Buddhist detective, this young woman who uses her practice to solve this mystery. I mean, Buddhism is really about solving the mysteries of the universe, solving the mysteries of our own heart. And of course, Buddhism is fundamentally concerned with life and death. So I thought this would, I don't know. Again, it wasn't a conscious idea. As you shared, Andy, most of my background is in television writing, although I do obviously have directed theater as well. And the show Granite Flats was the show that I ran for 3 years. But then this idea came to me for this novel, and I've been writing mysteries anyway for Hallmark Mystery. I read a mystery series called Mystery 101, which is about a literature professor who specializes in crime fiction and then ends up solving real life murders. But so, and Granite Flats was a mystery series too. It was about the Cold War, but it was fundamentally a mystery series. And I think
cool.
This book came to me and I wrote it and, got a book agent because I didn't have a book agent before that. And then Audible bought it and bought the option to, come out with it first. And so it's out there. So if you go to audible.com and just search for Zip Ono Buddhist Detective, you can download it. And the young woman who reads it is phenomenal, Alison Hiroto.
She is. She's great. And John, it's about common sense too. Like, I think Buddhism, you say, is about those other things, but it's also about helping us see common sense and make those connections.
Yeah, I mean, Nichiren Daishonin, the guy that first chanted Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, the founder of the practice, famously wrote, "Buddhism is reason," and Zip quotes that early on in the novel, and that's really the key thing. I mean, being a detective really involves looking at the evidence and using reason, and so it's a fun book. I definitely encourage people to get it.
That's awesome. I'm also bringing in Jeff Vogel and Brenda Ryan, who are newcomers here, who found this broadcast and had a song they were hoping to share. It's great to have you here. Where are you in the world? I can't remember.
We're in New York City, sunny side of Queens.
Oh, I know that place.
We're in this is our congresswoman is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Ah, so you have a very special district. That's pretty great. She's an amazing force, I'll tell you. She's changing a lot of things about possibilities. Just, people's constrained sense of what's possible gets expanded when new ideas come to Congress. So let's hope that percolates and simmers and becomes a rich stew. Ray, if you can hang on a little bit longer, if you have another short guitar tune, that'd be fun to hear before we close. And the same thing for Ray Pierre Humbert, the accordionist and climatologist at Oxford. If you can hang on a little longer, that'd be great. This is really fun. And John, it's just great. I can't wait to listen to Zip Ono. And I do sense that could be a really cool character for a film or something too. So let's see where it goes. The series. Stay tuned. So Jeff and Brenda, tell us a little bit about who you are and what makes you musical, and then maybe you could offer up a tune.
Well, we've been together 30 years. Brenda's
I'm a oncology nurse at Sloan Kettering, and
I'm a retired respiratory therapist.
Wow, I'm sure as a respiratory therapist, you've been thinking a lot about the COVID-19 impacts all around us. And, oncology is one of those arenas that got kind of paralyzed as people couldn't come in for regular care. I know there's been lots of calculations of impacts from delayed treatment and all that. So both of you have been, I'm sure, thinking deeply about that aspect of life right now.
Yeah, we're in touch with, former co-workers, people still working. Yeah, it's pretty. The cases the hospitals are getting more crowded again with cases of COVID and
tough times. So what's this song? You sent me the lyrics and the like. We'd love to hear it.
So as I said, we've been together 30 years.
Oh yeah.
And we've also been in the New York City Labor Chorus together for 30 years, and singing for peace and justice. We have our chorus has a new CD out, actually. Came out just before the pandemic.
Oh, that's fantastic. Boy, I wish Melissa Ortquist and Lori Siegel and Karen were still on. They sing a lot of songs from the labor movement as well. That's great to see. I'm glad you could be here today.
So are we.
we're glad to be here.
Yes.
And hold on one second. I want to bring on Patrick Jones too, who's joined us from Beacon. Patrick, hello.
Hello. How are you all? It's good to see you. John, I wanted to say hello to you because I was just so moved by your talk because my younger brother has been an SGI chapter leader and has been a Buddhist since 1973. So I know Myoho Renge Ko and Hoban Pandai Nichi Se Sonju Samayan Jokani Niki Go Shariata Shob Puchi Jinja Miria Muge Moho Yakasi Nose Ho Nose Hamma Kokyoto. So I love what you're saying and thank you for being on this show. Very, very proud of that. So
Very cool.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, it sounds great.
Okay.
Yeah, hold on one second. And again, Jeff and Brenda, we'd love to hear that song that you wanted to offer up this morning.
Yeah.
So the song was inspired by the Earthrise vote. This song was inspired by the Earthrise photo, which I consider to be the most important picture ever taken, and our greatest gift to humanity. And so nationalism can be a very, very dangerous force. And so I wrote new words for God Bless America that we're gonna sing right now.
Okay.
Blessed is our planet Earth, sailing round the sun, with oxygen and water, and an atmosphere second to none. Photosynthesis, we adore you. You provide us food to eat. Blessed is our planet Earth, and mighty sweet. Blessed is our Mother Earth, home to humanity and fellow creatures aplenty, with wondrous variety. There are mammals, there are reptiles, there are insects and microbes. Blessed is our planet Earth, more than we know. Blessed is our planet Earth, our only home.
Love it. Fantastic.
I
Is that?
just want to say, we sing insects and microbes, and I know we have a very deadly microbe right now, but the vast majority of them are actually beneficial, or else we wouldn't be here today talking about it.
No, they're part of the great mix of life all around us. So Ray, as a planetary physicist, just maybe this is Ray Pierre Humbert. What does that bring to mind?
Oh, yes. I said, here's a toast to 2.5 billion years of oxygenic photosynthesis. And it's one of the, great events in Earth history that caused huge destruction when it happened 2.5 billion years ago. And the cyanobacteria that invented this way of transforming the Earth's atmospheric chemistry, they didn't file an EPA report about what they were doing. It caused great disruption. But somehow we shook out and we came out okay. But Andy and I have had this discussion about the Anthropocene sometimes. So the difference is that the cyanobacteria couldn't have known what they were doing. They had no foresight. And so now the different thing with humans is that we do have foresight. We can predict what carbon dioxide does. And the question is, are we going to use that to do something about it? Or are we just going to be like cyanobacteria and use up all the energy that we can and then not use our gift of sentience? So,
yeah, that I wrote something like that back in 1992 in my first global warming book, and it's still kind of like the question: Can we do better than the dinosaurs when it comes to asteroids hitting us? Can we do better than cyanobacteria? Given that we do have this awareness, what a great song!
I just want to say, about that idea. So we live on it. We live on this amazing planet that's zooming around the sun at 67,000 miles an hour. But we know it, but we don't feel it. But if we really kept it in mind, that would be we might live in a different way.
Yes. Well, let's find out. That's part of my task at the Earth Institute, is figuring out better ways to communicate than the ones I've used the last 30 years, which is mostly me telling you a story as a journalist. And it doesn't seem to have that much of an impact. So whether it's through better discourse, whether it's through that kind of self-awareness that comes through the practices that John and Ray Bokhour were talking about, the reflective part of Buddhism, by whatever name you call it, that pause to reflect before you engage with someone in a non-constructive way. That 17-year-old girl I was talking about earlier found a way to talk to a Proud Boy. She's a BLM activist without getting into their fighting mode, even though he's wearing a mask and all girded for battle. There are practices that can perhaps do better than storytelling as a way forward. I'm not saying I'm not going to stop telling stories, or singing songs. So Patrick is back on. I think he had a little technical difficulty. Ray and John K, if you could stay a few more minutes, through the end of the hour, that'd be awesome. And Ray, double Ray. And Patrick, what do you have in mind musically this morning?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, all good.
I had a thing that was going. Hello?
Yeah, we hear you. All good.
You can hear me? Okay.
Yes.
All right. I was going to do something that actually is very simple. I've heard some wonderful words here today. So it's not too much to think about it. It's just a very simple thing that I think a lot of people who, if you were around maybe in the 60s and 70s, you'd remember this group. It goes like this.
Oh, we're having a singularity. Damn. Well, he'll be back in a minute, I'm sure. Maybe I'll offer a quick tune. Why not? Oh, here he comes back. Hold on a second. It's a very fine line between winning and losing. A very fine line between living and dying. Very fine line between loving and leaving. Most of your life you spend walking a very fine line. Well, 5 out of 6 lotto numbers won't win you a dime. If that driver ahead is a nut, you may soon be flying. Your girl's out the door if you say right things at the wrong time. Most of your life you spend walking a very fine line. It's a very fine line that you got to walk. Gotta watch every word when you make small talk. Gotta watch every step or you'll find yourself crazy and crying. Most of your life you spend walking a very fine line. A very fine line. A very fine line. It's a very fine line between loony and sane. A very fine line between a loss and a gain. A very fine line between pleasure and pain. Most of your life you spend walking that very fine line. Well, people you think are a genius are this far from bent. President blows an election by 0.5%. Maybe not this time. We all know love hurts, but we try it again and again. We know that the line between love and despair is so thin. It's a very fine line that you got to walk. Gotta watch every word when you make small talk. Gotta watch every step or you'll find yourself crazy and crying. Most of your life you spend walking a very fine line. It's a very fine line that you got to walk. Gotta watch every word when you make small talk. Gotta watch every step or you find yourself crazy and crying. Most of your life you spend walking a very fine line. A very fine line. Life's a very fine line. It's a very fine line. Very fine line. There you go. And Patrick's back.
Yeah.
All part of the resilience is what we need, right? Jump in there.
Yeah.
Patrick, we lost you there.
I love it.
You were swallowed by a black hole. You literally.
Yes, I know.
Do you have a song?
Whoop. I do have a song. It goes, united we stand, divided we fall. Come on now, people, let's get on the ball and work together. Come on, let's work together. Because together we will stand, every boy, child, woman, and a man. Well, things can't go wrong, and you know that they will, and it feels like life is just all uphill. Let's work together. Come on, let's work together. Together we will stand, every boy, child, woman, and a man. Oh, yeah, now. Well, make someone happy, make someone smile. Let's get together and make life worthwhile. Let's work together. Come on, let's work together. Together we will stand, every boy, child, woman, and a man. Yes, together we will stand, every boy, child, woman, and a man. Together we will stand, every boy, child, woman, and a man.
You know, there's some songs that like you know them so well and you don't really know them. Like I never really heard that song until just now, in the sense of the lyrics and what they, you know, and how apt it is right now. Geez, you know, in terms of what has to happen.
Yeah.
And the,
Yeah, that's,
very, very
that's really
cool.
what got me. Just surfing through the, you know, the internet, and that song came up, and I was like, wow, 1969 when they were 70 when that came out. And that's what we need to hear right now.
Well,
I
hopefully
love
we
what I
can,
heard on the show.
hopefully we can pull together something, some version of what happened at that special era. There were such disasters, you know, 2 assassinations, 3 really,
Yeah.
if you go back to Kennedy, Martin Luther King and Bobby Kennedy, and the turmoil in the streets and the Vietnam War, and yet, you know, we did pull together, and a lot of stuff happened. A lot didn't happen, but the Clean Air Act happened. A lot of the EPA under Richard Nixon happened. The
Civil Rights Act.
We got some stuff done, you know, and now it's really a hard pull right now. This virus is not letting go easily, and people's determination to stay in their belief, dug into their beliefs, is just not letting go either. Even with Biden coming in, there's a lot of work to do. But we're kind of toward the end of our morning here. We can go a few minutes long. I'd love to, you know, get some last, maybe a last little lick from Ray Bokhour, if you can, on that guitar before we go. And,
I just say one word.
And by the way, thank you, Jeff and Brenda. That was that tune is awesome, and now it's recorded. As soon as we're done, it's recorded and out there. So I'll push it around.
I just want to say our chorus continues to rehearse on Zoom, and we have about 50 people that come on every week. And as we're continuing to pay our director and our piano player, and you can support us by going to our website and buying one of our CDs.
What's the website? What's the easiest way to find it?
Just Google New York City Labor Chorus.
That sounds great. Google New York City Labor Chorus. And I'm going to just show everyone this CD. We Shall Overcome. Man, Pete Seeger. We're several of us here were longtime friends of his, and it's great to see this music living on.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
wonderful.
We sing to My Old Brown Earth. Pete's.
Oh, it's one of my favorite songs of his. To my old brown earth, to my old blue sky, I now give these last few molecules of I.
And we also do a new version of the Hallelujah Chorus with some new words that I wrote here again. Life on earth so amazing, hallelujah.
Great.
Where I try to appeal to both atheists and believers both.
This is great. That's the kind of cross-sectional, intersectional musical effort that the world needs right now. Thanks to both of you for being on this morning.
Thank you so much. Together.
Yeah.
Cool.
And you can come back and spread the word among the chorus. You know, the weekend. This is most every Sunday I try to do this. So it's a good way to spread the word. Thank you again.
Thanks, Andrew.
Great. That was wonderful. So sorry, back to our little gathering here from Oxford, England, the Hudson Valley.
Hi, Ray.
Yeah. Patrick and Ray have crossed paths here before already. Zambia is not in the room today. We've had Joseph Pupe from Lusaka, Zambia. This show has featured people from all around the world, so it's wonderful to be doing this. Ray, maybe a last little parting musical reflection.
I have a surprise guest. And you were just talking about doing can you give me a picture there? That's my wife, Christine, director of Rhinoceros, which we started talking about, but also a very fine singer. And you were talking about hearing lyrics again. We're listening to The Happening by Diana Ross and the Supremes, you know, that very supremely up song, very happy. And I once listened to the lyrics and I was like, I bet they wrote this as a dark blues. And then Barry Gordy or somebody came in and said, no, we need an up number. So listen to this and thinking about allowing ourselves to feel what we feel.
Wow.
And creating beauty out of that.
Hey, life, look at me. I can see the reality. When you shook me out of my world, I woke up. Suddenly I just woke up to the happening. When you find you left the future behind, when you lost that love you thought was yours for certain, suddenly you start hurting. The happening. One day you're up, then you turn around. You find the world is tumbling down. It happened to me, and it can happen to you. I was sure, felt secure, till love took a detour. Yeah, riding high on top of the world, it happened. Suddenly it just happened. I saw my dreams fall apart when love walked away from my heart. When you lose that precious love you need to guide you, something happens inside you. The happening. Now I see life for what it is. It's not all dreams, it's not all bliss. It happened to me, and it can happen to you. Let it happen.
Woo, man, what a great way to kick things out. That was fantastic. Hey, Christine, thank you for being part of this.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
What an
Thanks for
awesome,
having us here, Andy. This is a
what
great
an awesome duet. Fantastic. Oh my God. This has been a great Sunday morning. Hope everyone's going to get on with their days. Patrick Jones, thank you for being here again. Got to get you back on. We'll do it. And John Plummer, man, you and Ray, neighbors, friends, come back. This was wonderful.
We will. Yeah. Thank you, man. Thank you
Ray
so
Pierre
much.
Humbert in jolly old England. Good luck with your work on planetary physics and atmospheres here and elsewhere. And hopefully we can take good care of this one. There's that great song from Jerry and his wife made clear. There's a lot to cherish about this Earth that we live on, spinning around the planet, spinning around the sun. Just so people know, Sustain What, which is what this is a global online conversation identifying solutions to the complicated, shape-shifting, and epic challenges of humanity's great acceleration. On Sundays, we kick back from the hard stuff and do some of the other hard stuff, the hearts and arts stuff. That's really a key part of navigating this era, as Ray was describing, the Anthropocene, whatever you want to call it. Prime focus of mine is making sense of and getting the most out of the planet's fast-forward information environment. It's the one Earth system changing faster than the actual environment. This webcast is produced as part of my work building Columbia University's new Earth Institute initiative on communication and sustainability. As soon as we're done, share the link you've been watching this on with friends and circles far and wide. Get in touch with me with ideas. Come on the show on Sundays if you have a poem or a song or a piece of artwork you want to share. See that little distracting scrolling info bar at the bottom for ways to connect with me and stay connected to each other. If from a distance or if you're in the same bubble, you can hug away. And thanks again to everybody for being part of this today. It's great to build these relationships across space and share this afterwards. These things live on in time too. So as soon as we're done, you can share the links with friends, neighbors far and wide. Thanks again.
Thank you, Andy.
Be well, all of you.